I want to recognize the work that our Bexar County team did to support the response and recovery efforts in the Hill Country. Our Emergency Operations Center was activated, with staff working through the holiday weekend to manage and provide mutual aid response to our neighbors in Kendall and Kirk counties, which included over 6,000 bottles of water. Our emergency management team assisted with the Family Reunification Center. They also assisted the Mercy chefs prepare hot meals for first responders and by providing diesel for their generators. Our IT department set up a mobile radio communications tower to support first responder communications. Our Bexar County ESDs, Emergency Service Districts, deployed 5 boats and fire and rescue support, personnel support for search and rescue, while our Sheriff's Office deployed the UAV with drone support in coordination with DPS. I also want to recognize the way our neighbors have come together to help assess the needs and organize supplies. Bexar County residents did not hesitate. As county elected officials, we are getting direct information from our neighboring officials and emergency personnel. What we're hearing is this: at this time, there has been an excess of supplies provided, and they're primarily seeking monetary donations for the credible organizations on the ground best positioned to make a difference. For those who want to support, Kerr officials have appointed us in the direction of credible organizations that are accepting monetary donations to support the recovery and response from this incident. 1, the Salvation Army of Kerrville. 2, the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund, managed by the Hill Country Community Foundation. 3, the Red Cross of Central and South Texas. We will be sharing this information through our social media and other channels. As your county judge, I've made it my mission to make the investments in Bexar County and in relationships with our surrounding counties so that we're in the best position to support our region in times of emergency. I'm committed to working with our national, regional, and state leaders to identify improvements in our warning systems and our infrastructure to ensure that we are as resilient as we can be in the face of extreme weather events. Before turning it over to commissioners for any remarks, I'd like to invite County Clerk Lucy Adame to come to the podium to speak briefly on a program she's developed to assist those reeling from this recent flooding. But Lucy, before you speak, could you at this time please take a moment of silence? Thank you. Lucy, would you please, you and I have talked, I've asked you and other elected officials, and would you also recognize them as to what efforts Bexar County Courthouse and the officials here at the courthouse want to do for those most in need?
All elected directors, appointees, please join me at the podium. Elected officials, appointees, please join me at the podium. Good morning, Judge Sakai, Commissioners Court, and constituents. I am Lucy Adame Clark, your Bexar County Clerk. We come before you not only to speak, but show our condolences, support, send our prayers. We're also turning our voices as elected officials, directors, partners in Bexar County into action. I am honored, so very honored, that you, Judge Sakai, and your team have taken on the lead along with us, bringing this forward as Bexar County Call to Action. to support all affected and all impacted by our local and hill country floods. First and foremost, I want to send our prayers of support to any of our county employees, our colleagues of Bexar County, our universities that all have been directly affected by this horrific flood that's taken place not only in Bexar County, but across the state of Texas. We are pleading to our employees, county partners, media, and public to utilize us as your drop-off hub. All my 15 departments, off-sites, mobile unit locations will be taking donations, gift cards for those affected, as all county partners will be doing the same. Remember, we are all a family. We are Texas strong. We are Bexar County strong. And together we can make a huge difference and a big impact in helping these families. This historical moment has taken away children from our community. This is our community. These innocent children have been taken by a flood that they are not at fault from. I am also the Region 4 Director and Chairwoman for the CDCAT as a county clerk, where the community was impacted. And also, the Lombrigo, the root of this community was actually built out of Bexar County Land District 2 in 1856. So that's why it's important to us as Bexar County to continue supporting the victims from this flood. At this point, Albert Ureste.
So, Judge, I want to thank you. I know you called me yesterday, and you and I and Lucy have been talking, and so we're just honored to do this call to action, and I know Commissioners Court and the other county officials will be joining us. We will, I know the supplies, they've been kind of inundated with supplies, so we're going to kind of switch gears and be asking for gift cards and monetary donations, and the Tax Assessor Collector's Office will be using their 5 locations for people that want to drop off donations for the victims. I think it's also important, I know in our conversation, that we also try to do what we can for those that were victims, flood victims here in Bexar County as well, and we don't want to lose sight of those families that suffered here in Bexar County. So our efforts will be joint in helping the people out in Kirk County, Kendall County, but also in Bexar County. So we're very happy to be doing that. So we ask the public and all our employees to contribute, whatever they can contribute.
Good morning. Clara Martinez, District Clerk. It is such a tragedy what has happened as far as losing individuals. Lives have changed drastically. It is so important for us to gather as one, as we are doing now. And I thank you so much, Commissioners and Judge, for doing this. This is incredibly a beautiful thing that we are able to join together and help these people that need our help so dearly. Those that have lost lives, those that just lost their homes, they've lost so much, and they shouldn't have to go through this, but they are. And I ask the community, my employees, the employees of Bexar County, please donate any money that you can, if you're able to. Anything that you can give us would be more than appreciated. It is not for us directly. Please remember, it is for those that need the help. Thank you, Gloria Martinez.
So before I turn it over to our district attorney, I also want to acknowledge the San Antonio firefighters and the Democratic Party for doing what they've been doing in order to collect, supplies, donations, what have you. And I also want to acknowledge my brother, Tomas Udesi, who took a team out there to Kirk County this past weekend to go and help with the search out there. So with that, I'd like to turn over to our district attorney, Joe Gonzalez.
Good morning, Judge Sakai, members of the Commissioners Court. It truly is a tragedy that we have to come before you and talk about what has happened to our neighbors in the north. But it is at this time that it is appropriate that we come together to help our community and help those families that have suffered this loss. And I commend County Clerk Lucy Adame Clark for initiating this wonderful initiative in order to help our neighbors. would like you all to know that the district attorney's office has already begun assisting, and we know that sometimes it's difficult for members in our community to reach into their pockets and make monetary contributions, but there are other ways that you can help. For example, just yesterday we organized a team that will be working tomorrow evening at the food bank. For the next 2 or 3 weeks, the food bank will have an evening shift of preparing food packages to deliver to the victims of the flood. So if you can make time to go to the food bank and volunteer your time, the shifts are from 5:30 to 8, starting tomorrow and for the next 3 weeks, every Wednesday. In addition to that, I would like the community to know that some of our investigators have already volunteered and have been on site and have actually participated in the recovery. It's a horrible thing, but again, this is a time when we come together and help each other.
Judge, I'm here because I'm saddened because of all the children that they've lost out there. And our prayers are going to be for them, and we need to continue to support them. But I will get all 4 constables to come together and make donations and so on. But I'm here willing to help in any way. But I'm very proud of all the elected officials coming together as yourself. So, but just let us know in what way, other than monetary, we can help. Thank you.
I just want to thank you, Judge, again for coordinating this team and putting us together to make sure that we support our community. And commissioners, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for you advocating. And I saw that some of the commissioners were at Kerr County, so I appreciate those efforts of you trying to help the community. Thank you again.
Commissioner Moody.
Well, thank you, Judge, and thank you to all of our electeds and Lucy Adame Clark for leading this effort. You know, this is such a heartbreaking tragedy. You know, tragedies are going to always present themselves. We're going to run into, there will be other tragedies, right? But this is an opportunity for us to come together, right? And not just as a county, as leaders here today, but as a region. And as you mentioned, I had a chance to go up to Kerr County and Kerrville on Sunday. As the judge mentioned, we have Bexar County Sheriff's deputies, their aviation team with UAS's drones that were assisting in the search and recovery operations. We have emergency services districts that are out there on the ground assisting as well. The Emergency Management Office, Chris Lopez, Michael Moreland, were out there working hard, making sure that Kerr County and those affected had the resources they needed. And, you know, when a tragedy like this strikes, time is of the essence. And, you know, I just want to applaud you, Judge. From day one, I think our community and our first responders, we were all in from day one. And that is so important to make sure that we had boots on the ground immediately. You know, I had conversations with some of the electeds in Kendall County and Kerr County. They were already connected with our emergency management office. You know, I reiterated, anything you need, we're there. You just tell us what you need. And I know that that's the message they got from Judge Sakai and our EMO team as well. So I'm proud of our response. Obviously, I'm heartbroken like the rest of our community is at the tragic loss of life, especially those campers. You know, it breaks your heart to watch those stories come out. But I do think that, you know, there'll be a time for us to review processes and figure out how we can try to mitigate, how we can try to ensure that we mitigate future disasters, future tragedies. But right now, obviously doing everything we can to support those families and support those first responders that were on the ground, that are doing everything they can for those families today, I think is our appropriate response today. And as we go forward, you know, try to do everything we can to ensure that another tragedy like this doesn't occur. But thank you, Judge.
Any further comments? Sure. Commissioner Rodriguez.
Thank you, Judge. Let me just also weigh in and thank you, Judge, for your leadership and coordinating with the other electeds. We appreciate that. I know, in these times, no one really knows how to respond, particularly in something as unthinkable as this, when sounds like over 100 lives lost and many of them children. I think any of us that parents or aunts, uncles, grandparents, it hits home. So we certainly want to send our prayers to those who are dealing with this, but also those who are still, I think as we speak, still out searching for hopefully any survivors. So words aren't enough, but we certainly send our prayers and our thoughts to everyone involved. I also want to mention that the District 7 Fire Rescue Team under Chief Kevin Clarkson's leadership is also part of the coordinating efforts, and they've got drop-off locations in Precinct 2 at both Station 115 on Galm Road and Station 116 out in Helotes for anyone that wants to contribute either non-perishable food items, cleaning supplies, and of course any monetary donations. So it is certainly a county-wide effort, Judge. We know that when neighbors hurt, we all hurt, and so we're all keeping them in prayer. And again, thank you for putting this together, Judge. Thank you.
Commissioner Calvert.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you to all the electeds who have been a part of the response, and all of the personnel from Bexar County, Westmoreland, and so many who have been part of this. For most of us in Bexar County, Kirk County and Kerrville in particular have been ground central for camping over the summer. I personally went to Camp Flaming Arrow in Kerrville as a young man with the YMCA, and so many families from San Antonio go to this area. And certainly on a 4th of July weekend, with all of the camping and activities, it was a place of great happiness, and now a place of great sorrow. We are a community that has often served as a big brother for our neighboring smaller counties, and we're going to have to do that going forward. There's a lot that we're needed for. This is obviously going to be a very long recovery with the amount of devastation that has taken place. And I'm grateful for the heart of so many San Antonians, citizens of mine, who've reached out asking how they can help. I thank you, Judge, for laying out this plan for people to contribute as well. It is a very important small gesture. And I know that the people of Precinct 4, we are all praying for the families, and we know that we serve a God who also lost their child. And so the words of men will often fall short in terms of filling that void in their hearts. But we know the Word of God never will. And so we commend the strength of God in this very difficult time for everyone for the long duration. Whether it's mental health and how we can help Kerr County stand up stronger mental health in light of this tragedy, or whether it's Bexar County leading the way to show how flood control taxes can help with greater flood control. In these climate situations, there's almost no infrastructure that could have prevented these horrible incidents, but we will do our best to try to help them learn from all of the lessons that we've learned in Bexar County, and we're praying for them. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Commissioner Clay Flores.
So 4th of July will never be the same for our community. And we are Texans and we take care of our own. So I just ask that you will continue to pray if you have a relationship with Christ, and continue to pray for our families. I had to realize a long time ago as a Christian that I can either choose despair or I can choose to accept Christ's sovereignty. So I choose to accept his sovereignty even in the midst of things when I don't understand. Other commissioners from neighboring counties have reached out to me to see how we can collaborate, how they can continue to support the work that our county employees are doing. And I also want to ask for prayers for our county staff, not only our emergency workers like our ESDs, but also our medical examiner's office. For the last few years, they are professionals who have been trained to do autopsies of dead bodies. But they can't have enough training for the last few years of the children from the Uvalde shooting, the 53 migrants that were found in my precinct, and now this. It takes a toll emotionally, professionally, so we are going to continue to be there for everything that we need to support them. Some of the commissioners, the county judge from Kirk County, we served together on ACOG. So it is very personal. I know a family whose daughters just came back from Camp Mystic the week before. So as we go forward, we sit here, we represent political parties, but we know that political boundaries do not stop in times like this. So we will continue to support our own because we are Texans. Thank you.
Commissioner Moody.
Well, I appreciate Commissioner Clay Flores bringing up the medical examiner's office, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to mention it or not, but she's absolutely right. Our chief medical examiner, Dr. Kimberly Molina, her team has been involved in this terrible tragedy in a major way, and unfortunately, I had to broker a couple calls directly to her personally over July 4th weekend, and it was heartbreaking and so difficult, but she's a consummate professional, and she brought peace, as much peace as she could to those families. I just wanted to publicly recognize her as well, but I appreciate Commissioner Clay Flores saying what her team's accomplished, because it's a lot of work, and can't imagine what they have to go through in these kinds of tragedies. But she's a professional, and I appreciate her work for the county and for those who were affected by this tragedy.
Thank you all. At this time, I'd ask Commissioner Calvert to please introduce Pastor Ray Brown for opening prayer and do the Pledge of Allegiance to open this meeting.
Thank you, Judge. It's my distinct honor to invite Pastor Ray Brown to the dais. He is the third of 5 children born to Reverend Aristide Sr. and Mary J. Brown. He was born in Heidelberg, Germany, where his father was stationed in the U.S. Army. Pastor Brown accepted his call to ministry at the tender age of 9. After graduating from Sam Houston High School in San Antonio, he began his collegiate matriculation at Bishop College in Dallas, Texas, where he pursued a bachelor's degree in theology. In the summer of 1989, while still in college, he was called to pastor the Live Oak Baptist Church in Nacogdoches, Texas. And in July of 1990, Pastor Brown accepted his next assignment, at the newly established Resurrection Baptist Church in Schertz, Texas, just 5 miles northeast of San Antonio. A gifted preacher, teacher, and leader, Pastor Brown's range touches every mood and expresses every level of human emotion. He is a fresh, clear, multi-generational voice to people who are yearning to hear God's age-old truth and apply it to their lives, to the glory of God. Under his leadership, Resurrection continues to thrive and expand, not only as a local assembly, but as a regional ministry with a global impact, where an increasing number of souls are being saved and people are growing maturely in their faith. I may mention one thing. His choir has been noted as the #1 gospel choir in the United States. And so Pastor Brown has been motivated by love for his people, his love for preaching, and his belief that no one is beyond God's reach. If you all would stand, Pastor Brown, you have the floor.
Shall we bow our heads? Let us pray. Oh, gracious God, we gather today in this Commissioners Court to acknowledge once again that you alone are sovereign. We thank you for the nation in which we share life, liberty, and happiness, all which are inalienable rights which we hold to as self-evident. We praise you for the responsibility we have to do justice and love mercy and walk humbly with you. Right now, give us the power to find needs and meet them, find problems and solve them, find hurts and heal them. And for every official here today, we ask the blessings of civility, truth, wisdom, and grace. Open our hearts in courage and imagination that we might envision a better tomorrow where your purpose will prevail on earth as it is in heaven. Let your grace and favor rest upon us all. We ask this in the matchless, marvelous, magnificent, majestic name, Jesus, that is above every name. We pray and give thanks. Amen.
Amen. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Brown. All right, we'll open up with our ceremony items. 3A, presentation of servicemen recognizing employees for 25 plus years of service. We only have one person, but boy, this one person, woo. That's all I'll say, woo. Together, we will be recognizing one of our long-outstanding county directors who's made supporting small businesses and entrepreneurship her life's work, Renee Watson. Renee, why don't you come up here with whoever you brought, your troops, your employees, your friends, your family. Renee Watson has led the Bexar County Small Minority Women-Owned Business Enterprise Swim Beat program for the past 25 years, which has promoted broader access to public procurement for minority and women-owned businesses, a fair chance to earn Bexar County contracts. She's also been the main liaison for the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise program, which ensures that disadvantaged companies have broad opportunities to compete for contracts involving federal funding. The leadership with these programs shows how Renee continues to be a steward of fairness, equal opportunity, and a driver of growth in Bexar County. Some of her recent accolades include induction into the San Antonio Women's Hall of Fame. I was there, Renee, and being awarded the SBA San Antonio District Small Business Champion. As this landscape continues to change in challenging times, we value Renee's expertise and leadership to help us navigate, to make sure we're doing our very best to equip local entrepreneurs with the tools to succeed. So, Renee, wow, you did bring your troops. Let's give her a round of applause.
And Judge, we promise that everyone won't have something to say.
Second, Renee, let me just, before we have you say a few words, let me just say this. Having grown up around Renee Watson, I remember when this community was trying to recruit Renee Watson back to San Antonio. I think you were in San Diego.
Correct.
You've done some amazing things with the Universal Soul Circus, with the San Diego State Senator, and we were like, we got to get Renee Watson back to San Antonio. I think you had a stint with Senator Ellis at that time, and so it was a real dream come true for many in the community who had poured into you and had wanted to see you come back home, to have you come back home at Bexar County to help us through the Frostbank SBC Center, inclusion and contracting, and so many other things that you've been a part of. I want to recognize that you have also been an incredible organizer for the largest small business conference really in the nation, as well as helping to establish the Second Chance Job Fair in the early years. You were really the backbone helping to keep things organized, and I appreciate it, and I know that many people people are grateful the county is extending economic enfranchisement to those who have often been disenfranchised. But it goes without saying that you have done a lot in community. Outside of Bexar County, people have come to lean on you as a trusted voice in the community. When we were dealing most recently in the neighborhood with child detention centers, you had to take your county hat off and put your citizen hat on, and I applaud and salute you for taking what I think history will judge you in a very positive, profound way for ensuring that we didn't have an institution with a track record of less than stellar care for children in your backyard. But whether it was flood infrastructure, street infrastructure, fighting crime, better housing, inclusion in small business, you have made the best of these 25 years, and just want to say on behalf of the people of the county, we're very proud and we salute you. Thank you for your service.
So good morning. Today is why it's fun to be a county employee, because what you just did in honor of those in Kerrville. Because as a county employee, our office is on the 11 lost their lives on June 12th. Yesterday, our team spent with wellness and mental health, because we as employees have to deal with that tragedy for the last month, immediately out our back door. So thank you for the services that you provide to county employees, because this is bigger than just what we do each day. You know, during COVID, our team responded to give out the face masks with Kyle Coleman. Kyle Coleman, who was our emergency management administrator, lost his life after one of the distributions. One of our team members lost their life from COVID during that distribution. We take it upon ourselves to look at initiatives that the other departments are having. Right now, we're working with public health for the distribution of Narcan, because that can save lives because of the opioid and fentanyl crisis. But the things that we do to support our business community, to ensure a transparent business process, we are all grateful for each one of your leadership. Because I can remember 25 years ago, standing in the old courthouse in front of Judge Cryer and Commissioner Elizondo saying, make a program that benefits our community, not one that says, we got you, you're doing something wrong. And to go forth and name our trophy after Mr. Peter Holt, our Peter M. Holt MWBE award, we've only given out 3 times. Once when Toyota came to town because of what they did. And then when we did the Marriott PGA and what they did to ensure local participation. And then to the Spurs themselves. So as we continue to go through this process, it makes us have to be able to come to work every day and say we're glad to be county employees. 6,000 of us, we call each other all the time and we collaborate. So as you move forward with this initiative, call on us as your front line throughout the county to support those elected officials in what we're doing. And call on the Center for Healthcare Services, because many of our employees in our community really need mental health services right now, because we're all being impacted. So thank you. I got my other 4 steps here. I'm waiting for my 5th one up here. I think the last time somebody came, I think Commissioner Clay Flores said I was going to get a golden nugget or something. So
I don't know if it's a golden. I don't know if it's a golden nugget, but that's what you got.
Thank you for allowing us to serve. Thank you so much.
I just want to say that I was planning to wear my hair in a wrap this morning, but I ran out of time. But we'll plan another day.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right. There's your gold nugget. Take a group picture. Come on.
And 1, 2.
Come on, intern.
And 1, 2, 3.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you, dear.
All right, let's roll through these presentations. The first one will be presentation and proclamation on behalf of Commissioners Court recognizes San Antonio Karate Kids of America. Commissioner Clay Flores.
Hey, stay right there. Renee.
Yeah, if you guys want to come forward, and I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas the San Antonio Karate Kids of America was founded by Mr.
safety aspect that we're trying to accomplish. We've been doing this for a long time, for many years. We don't have it written down. It's just kind of a practice that we've know that we do to support them. And so really this effort is to put that into writing so that our staff has that redundancy. If we get new people, that they know what the process is. Our hopes is to complete this project by December with that contractor.
Okay, so this is something that we have done in the past, you said, or?
Yeah, not the playbook, but the content of what the playbook is supposed to cover.
Okay.
Are things that we've already been doing.
So, I mean, just for purposes of public discourse, give me an example of the kind of things that you're talking about.
Sure. Yeah. So, leading up to the elections, I'll go back to this previous election period in November. Leading up to the election, we had a partial EOC activation at Brook City Base. Leading up on the early election time period, where we had the sheriff's office and us and the city of San Antonio monitoring 911 calls for medical or law enforcement that may be needed. Because as you may be familiar, the sheriff's office is the primary response agency when it comes to those polling sites. And so we manage all of that aspect over at the EOC. So then on the day of, we also did a full activation with our partners to ensure that safety and communication with school districts that have polling sites and all of that. Leading up to all of this, we do planning with the elections team, planning with our partners and our stakeholders, especially the school districts, to ensure that they understand our perspective on public safety, and they're trying to keep their campuses safe as well. And so that's really what this playbook is going to cover.
So it's really, I guess, in terms of safety, physical infrastructure. We're not talking about IT or cybersecurity safety as it relates to elections. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. Ultimately that has a part in it, right? Because we want to make sure that we maintain, public safety, and cyber has something to do with that as well, right? And so, but the main intention of this isn't necessarily cybersecurity.
Okay. I know. I thought I saw our elections administrator walk in.
She's over here.
Ms. Carew, can you come up? As she comes up, I just wanted to make sure. I know this is really, again, for public safety and making sure you kind of plan for the worst. But to the extent, Michelle, that your office has any coordination with this, I mean, it sounds like they are emergency ops is. I know you're just a few months in, but at least working with your office to make sure that this is a seamless kind of playbook that's put in place. Is that right?
Correct. We did have a meeting in my office. We were able to review this playbook, and the information that it provided does work, and we're more than happy to endorse it.
Okay. And I know it's not a huge expenditure. I just wanted to make sure I understood what it was. Thank you for your work on this, and to the emergency team as well. We appreciate that. Judge, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Calvin. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Judge.
Yes.
Just while Michael Moreland's standing up there, appreciate everything you've done over the last few days and supporting up there, and for taking my calls on Sunday morning. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The other item that was pulled by Commissioner Clay Flores is 75. Approval of request from Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores to allocate outside agency funding in total amount of $1,000 for the agencies and amounts listed as part of Precinct 1's contribution to outside agencies from the general fund. Commissioner Clay Flores, you have the floor.
Wow. I was looking at the draft and not the actual agenda. I pulled the wrong number.
Okay.
But it's okay. Motion for approval for that one.
Second.
But I really wanted to highlight 74.
Okay, we'll do that. Let's get the motion to approve item 75. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Motion by Commissioner Clay Flores, second by Commissioner Rodriguez. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carried. Commissioner Clay Flores, I yield back.
Thank you, Judge. I want to take this time to highlight 74, which is $10,000 I'm allocating to Threads. This is for my colleagues on the court, anyone hearing. If you don't know about Threads, consider donating to them. They are a nonprofit that have really nice clothing for students, for college interviews, for the first time interviews, for proms, and so it's a really good nonprofit, and they have just lost one of their major funders. So we want to continue to keep this up, because we know that for young people, it's not just about clothing, but it's about building self-esteem and giving them the confidence to go into these kinds of interviews. So please consider donating to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clay Flores. For the record, item 74 was passed during the consent motion and was passed by unanimous consent. All right, that concludes consent agenda. We now go to item 6, filing for the record the following legal and administrative documents and directing the Criminal District Attorney's Office to take action if necessary for those items listed as A and B. Commissioners Court minutes for Tuesday, June 24, 2025. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion by Commissioner Rodriguez.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Clay Flores. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. We're going to get to citizens to be heard. We only have one, so let me tee up what the individual docket, and I'm alerting the court, alerting staff, alerting the public that without objection, unless there is, I would like to take up, after citizens to be heard, I'd like to take up items, let's see. I want to take up items 86, 87, 88, 89. Those are 4 separate agenda items I wish to take up. They're all in regards to one issue. I would like to take up item 85 after that for individual consideration. If any other commissioner, as a point of personal privilege, would like to pull anything out of order, I would take that. So, commissioners, if there is anything after that, depending on the time, it is anticipated that I would like to move the court to go to executive session, which should put us in executive session before lunchtime. I would like to, because we do have a lengthy matters to discuss in executive. We will come back out then to resume individual consideration and those matters that perhaps were taken into executive and need action. If there's no objection with that, that's the way I intend to call it, so that in order to try to get the issues out in the most expedient way. So with that, let us proceed to agenda item 8, citizens to be heard. Let me ask Molly, just Molly, to come speak. Hey, Molly. You have 3 minutes, Molly.
Hi, sir. Your Honor, I come on a different topic today. I'm going to ask all of you if you're familiar with the book Where the Sidewalk Ends by Silverstein. It's basically about a young boy that draws pictures on a fence and allows people to explore their imagination. So there's a young man here today, Lakey, in the audience here, who spreads joyful, motivational art, very similar, on public sidewalks. After a brief battle with the Leon Valley Police in the past, they ended up settling, giving him $16,000. After that, he experienced a high number of police harassment, from both the county and the local SAPD enforcement, but mostly SAPD. And they basically harass him based on a 2 decades old ordinance. And that's why he always wins and he gets all his tickets dismissed, because he never ever uses what they call a paint stick or a graffiti stick, leaving a visible mark. He uses children's washable chalk. And I'm asking here today, Your Honor, I know that you always speak to the city staff whenever the city of San Antonio is harassing people in the county and things like that. And so I'm asking today if you can please address this police harassment from both the county and SAPD on this young man. I'm just wanting for the behavior, the law enforcement on this gentleman to stop, and this constant harassment on this young man expressing himself just because he expresses his American right. For positive motivational messages. That's all it is. And so how does it affect me? Well, the more that they arrest him and give him police citations, the more he's not able to post these motivational messages. And so we all, citizens, need to see these wonderful messages. And I witnessed it myself, where everyone is enjoying his art, his chalk art, you know, and children and mothers and parents, they see him in the parks. They're like, oh, let me get pictures of the park. And they're just like playing in his circles and everything. How is that so dangerous? So can you please address it with SAPD and your county law enforcement to please stop harassing this gentleman? That's all I'm asking.
Thank you, Molly.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody else who signed up that I didn't call? That's the only written slip I got. All right. That concludes item 8. So now, 82. Okay. Yeah, we'll take it. Got it. All right. All right. So let me ask for a motion to grant late filing to the granting of agenda items 81 through 91, an exception to Administrative Policy 1.2 to authorize the consideration of those agenda items listed therein. 81 through 91. Motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Clay Flores. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to consider those late filed items, signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Also, I want, as a point of personal privilege, Commissioner Clay Flores asked that agenda item 82 be taken up as before we propose to go to executive session, but please we'll take it up as we move forward. So as I indicated, I want to take up 86 through 89, and we'll take it up individually. At this time, 86 is discussion, appropriate action related to granting and discussion and appropriate action related to authorizing County Judge Sakai to execute the closing escrow agreement contemplated by Memorandum of Understanding among Bexar County, the San Antonio Independent School District, the Weston Urban Management LLC, Designated Bidders LLC, once finalized and in a form approved by the attorney representing Bexar County, and filing the appropriate documents for record once final and executed to be effective as of August 1st, 2025. Mr. Smith, do you want to make that presentation?
Thank you, Judge. You're right. The 4 items you pulled are all related to the San Pedro Development Authority, the Missions Baseball Park project, and related developments. There are a number of things that the team has requested be executed before August 1st and certain documents placed into escrow by August 1st. Obviously, the court isn't scheduled to meet again after today until after August 1st. So these items ask for permission for staff and Judge Sakai to finalize these documents that are mostly finalized as we speak, but not quite completely done. The first of these is the actual escrow agreement, and that escrow agreement primarily for the county will have the leases for the amended lease for the Quincy Street parking garage, as well as the new lease for a new garage on North Main with SAISD. And so the first of these documents asks for permission for Judge Sakai to execute the escrow agreement.
Any questions?
And
Mr.
yes,
Rodriguez.
and David, it's been a little while since we've discussed this. It's been at least a few weeks. There's not any substantive changes from what we discussed last time as it relates to the garage, the change in the Quincy Street garage lease, and then the construction of the new garage. Has there been anything that's changed substantively since we last had this?
No, it's really been a process of clarification of what is a capital expenditure under the lease versus normal maintenance and operations. Just clarifying those things.
And my recollection is on the Quincy Street garage, there's going to be an adjustment in the amount, I guess, the school district was paying.
That's right. They were paying approximately $430,000. They will no longer pay that.
Okay.
They will use it during business hours for their own vehicles, as well as some after-hours spaces I believe they've asked to utilize. Otherwise, all paid use of that garage will be county revenue.
Okay. And then as it relates to the new garage, I know we don't have a specific cost yet, but that is to be constructed through county revenue stream somehow, whether it's COs, whatever it may be, but that is the agreement that the county will pick up the cost of that construction. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Okay. I make a motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Clay Flores. Any further discussion? Commissioner Moody?
And just for clarification, so we're going to take up these items individually, all 4 items, but we're kind of discussing because they're all tied together to the same project. So just for clarification, on the old garage, are we currently collecting public revenue as well on that? Will that remain the same? We're just foregoing SAISD revenue on the old garage going forward with the deal.
That's correct, although there's very little after-hours activity at the moment at that garage.
So part of that is the goal that ultimately the development and the baseball stadium will drive additional revenue at that garage to the county's benefit once it's completed construction.
Well, Quincy Street's done. It's open. The new garage will be the new construction.
No, specifically talking just about the baseball stadium being complete and driving additional revenue.
I see. I'm sorry. Yes, that's the hope. And the $500 million to $1 billion of other investment that will occur, we would hope that would generate some paid revenue for those 2 garages.
Okay. And then the new garage, there will be, help me again, I read it, but in terms of the new garage, the shared revenue, and during the course of the bonds, like we'll be collecting that revenue to pay the bonds on it until the debt is paid off?
We will receive, on both garages under these new leases, we will receive all the paid parking revenues. SAISD will have use to free spaces primarily during business hours. Remember, the new garage is essentially replacing surface level parking they currently have on about 2 acres that are needed for the footprint of the stadium.
Okay. And is the new garage, is the timeline for construction, is that tied with the baseball construction, or is that going to start immediately?
Once we have signed, executed leases, we'll be able to start contracting for architectural services and everything that goes into building a garage.
Okay. And part of this was because SEISD thought they needed or did need additional parking spaces because they were overflowing the current garage in the deal that we had there. Is that correct?
Yeah, so they were on the 2 acres that the stadium footprint actually requires. They were using it for surface parking primarily for their teachers and instructors, and they needed a replacement if they were going to convey that land to be available for the stadium.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any further comments, questions? I'll call for a vote then. There's a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Clay Flores. All those in favor of the motion signal by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. We'll continue with agenda item 87. Discussion appropriate action related to authorizing County Judge Sakai to execute the amended and restated ground lease and construction, development, and use agreement for the Quincy Street parking garage and the ground lease and construction, development, and use agreement for the North Main Street parking garage as required by the Memorandum of Understanding among Bexar County, the San Antonio Independent School District, Western Urban Management, designated bidders once all documents are finalized and in a form approved by the attorney representing Bexar County, and filing the appropriate documents for record once final and executed. I believe we've been having discussion. Is there a motion on this?
So moved, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Rodriguez. Second by Commissioner Calvert. Any further discussion on item 87? Hearing none, all those, Commissioner Moody.
And I could have said it more in the previous item, but ultimately, as I look at this is a complicated, multilateral agreement, right, with multiple parties and everything. But this is between a public entity and a public entity, and there's a lot of nuances to it and everything, but it seems to be there's benefits in it for the county, and there's benefits in it for SAISD and for the ongoing development in the area. And that's why I think that this is a good thing for the county and can support it. But I could have highlighted that on the first item, but just want to bring it for the record. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. All right, there's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Calvert. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. We'll take up item 88, discussion appropriate action related to authorization for Bexar County to accept the proposed conveyance of the property described as NCB 132, Lot 38, Fox Tech High School Subdivision, City of San Antonio, Bexar County, Texas, from SISD to ultimately be utilized for the construction of a multi-purpose recreation and civic facility for use by professional minor league baseball and other public purposes, and authorizing County Judge Sakai to execute necessary documents on behalf of Commissioners Court related to SISD's conveyance of the property once completed. Is there a motion on 88?
So moved, Judge.
Motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Clay Flores. Any further discussions?
Joe, just quickly, let me. I know this is all related to the same development, but I just want to acknowledge and thank David, you and your team. I know it was sometimes a complicated negotiation, but this particular item is essentially for the property that's essential for the redevelopment that was owned by the school district and is now being conveyed to the county. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. I know we've got good people on the county's team, on the baseball owners team, and on the school district's team, and everybody, I think, was earnest in coming to the table and trying to get a reasonable deal done. So thank you for that, David. I appreciate it. And I make the motion, Judge.
All right. There's a motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Clay Flores. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. We'll now take up 89. Discussion of appropriate action related to consideration of resolution consenting to and approving the bylaws for the San Pedro Creek Development Authority, a local government corporation created jointly by Bexar County, the City of San Antonio, to promote economic development in San Pedro Creek Park District, which will authorize the authority to acquire, develop, finance, construct, own, manage, operate, and maintain that certain multi-purpose recreation civic facility to be used in part for professional minor league baseball and other non-professional sporting events and community events, as well as exercise all other powers as authorized under relevant Texas law.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Clay Flores. Is there any further discussion, comments, or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Let me also, David, just say thank you to you and your staff. I want the public to understand that these actions that we've taken to do is a culmination of the memorandum of understanding as we move forward. This has been negotiated in good faith. I believe the county has made a significant contribution to this project in order to get it done. I will also remind the court that part of the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, which I committed to and I intend to follow through, was to support the affordable housing within the urban core, namely the San Antonio Independent School District. And so I've asked staff, I believe our economic development community resources Robert Reyna has been tasked by me on behalf of the county. So commissioners, if you have any input on housing projects or anything the county can do to commit and fulfill that commitment that we made to the community as part of this public financing for this particular project. So I just wanted to remind that and also applaud the Western Urban Group, the San Antonio Independent School District, designated bidders, and all those other parties that were made part of this. And I truly believe it'll be an outstanding success for the county, but more importantly for the taxpayers and for the people of our community. So with that, I wanted to say thank you. It was a lot. It was a heavy load, and I believe we got it done. Obviously, we'll have to let the lawyers finish out the paperwork, and then I would expect then there'll be some groundbreaking or some event that will signify that this project is going up. And again, there are many stipulations within that to make sure that the private investment is fulfilled in regards to the development. And what I would love to see is to see a robust economic development, then blossom into that whole San Pedro Creek corridor. I think that's what Judge Wolf, Commissioner Paul Elizondo envisioned, that with the commitment to the San Pedro Creek, we would see all that area really grow. And so it may not happen right now, but I think we are taking the steps to make sure that all parts, and I hope the end result is that the children and families, namely in San Antonio Independent School District, will be the benefactors of our decisions that we made today. And so I want to say thank you to the commissioners who have supported this. So with that, we move on, as I indicated, to item 85, discussion appropriate action regarding the letter amendment to non-relocation agreement with San Antonio Spurs, which would make an exception to the existing non-relocation agreement for the 25-26 and 26-27 NBA season as specifically set out in the letter amendment. Mr. Smith, I believe we've approved this late file. I understand this is also another time-sensitive matter. I also want to just put on record, I don't want the public to understand that why was this thing late file. Is this obviously we had some really time deadlines and we just really needed to get certain things done. And obviously this will, unless we have a specially called meeting, this will be the last meeting for the month till we meet in August. So that was the justification to bring these at the last minute. Mr. Smith, tell me what item 85 is about.
This is a similar, if not identical, item that you've approved in the past. It gives the San Antonio Spurs permission to play 2 home games outside of the Frost Bank Center, but within 100 miles. That could possibly include Austin for 2 games, plus additionally 1 home game internationally.
Motion by Commissioner Calvert, second by Commissioner Rodriguez. Any further discussion or comment?
I have a comment, since Bobby's here. Can that international game be in Mexico? Or, I know you're going to say depends what the NBA says.
For your record, Bobby Pettis, San Antonio Spurs. Good morning, Judge, Court. Commissioner, we have used this same provision to play in Mexico City on 2 occasions. Last year was France. And yes, it can be, and we will get scheduling from the league at the end of this year to see where they permit us to play. So yes.
Thank you. Happy to approve.
All right, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Commissioner Clay Flores, what you wanted? 82. Let us now take up 82. That has been approved to be considered. Approval of request from Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores to allocate outside agency funding in the amount of $2,600 for the agencies and amounts listed as part of Precinct 1's contribution to outside agencies from the general fund. Commissioner Clay Flores, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you for pulling this. I just wanted to, first of all, acknowledge Alderman Vidales, who also, from the city of Somerset, but also works at the senior center there. And so this is funding that I'm allocating. It's late because it was kind of an emergency. The refrigerator went out. So thank you for working with my staff and with Robert so that we could hurry up and get this, because we know how much the senior center serves, not just the seniors, but, you know, we have like our CBDG annual meeting there for the entire precinct, and it's really something for the whole community. So I want to go ahead and make the motion for approval.
Motion by Commissioner Clay Flores, second by Commissioner Rodriguez.
Alderman, want to say a few words?
Yes. First of all, my name is Jesse Vidales, and I am the program supervisor for the Senior Center. I just want to say thank you for your continued support, Judge, Commissioners, and especially you, Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores, because without y'all, you know, we're in the southern part of Bexar County. We're in a food desert area, and this approval will actually help us meet our campaign fundraising to purchase that refrigerator, because we keep food in there for our seniors. We also keep medications in there for people that are diabetic, the seniors that go there. So, I mean, this really, really does help, and I really want to just say thank you very, very much.
So, thank you so much.
So, thank you.
Appreciate
it.
All right. There's a motion and a second. Call for a vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carried. If I could indulge the court, I'd like to continue on some of the late filed matters that we can, I think, knock out before we're going to executive session after this. But let us now take up, Commissioner Clay Flores, I presume you'd like to take up item 83. Approval and request from Commissioner Rebecca Clay Flores to allocate outside agency funding in the amount of $2,500 for the agency's amounts listed as part of Precinct 1's contribution to outside agency from the general fund. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Clay Flores, second by Commissioner Rodriguez. Commissioner Clay Flores, would you like to say
Nope, I'm glad it passed. Thank you.
Well, we'll pass it real quick. All right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Let us continue. I'm going to ask for a motion, court, on item 84. It's mine. Approval of request from Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai to allocate outside agency funding an amount of $106,000 for the agencies and amounts listed as part of Bexar County Judge Peter Sakai's contribution outside agencies from the general fund. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Calvert. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carried. Commissioner Calvert, I believe you have a late file that you said we'd like to take up. Let's go to 81. Approval of First Amendment to the Interlocal Agreement for Bexar County participation in Converse, moving forward to tax increment reinvestment zone number 1, City of Converse, Texas, increasing the City of Converse participation rate from 70.16% to 85%, also updating the finance and project plans and not altering any terms regarding Bexar County's participation term or rate. Commissioner Calvert, you have the floor.
Okay, I think this may be Kevin, or I don't know if Melissa or Manuel is doing this one. Melissa, go ahead. Thank you so much.
Good morning, Melissa Shannon, County Manager's Office. So just to refresh your memories on this one, Judge and Commissioners, this is an interlocal agreement that goes back to 2017. And what Converse is asking is to up their participation rate in the TERS, and they have to come back through us to amend that agreement. It does not affect any of our terms or conditions in any of the agreements. So it's no effect to the county. It's simply allowing the City of Converse to up their participation rate in the tax increment reinvestment zone.
Thank you. And I don't know if Kevin, you wanted to say anything?
Good morning, Commissioners. Kevin Deanda with Ortiz McKnight, representative for the developer. Just to follow up on what Melissa stated, the reason that we are before you today is to amend the interlocal agreement, which is an agreement between Bexar County, the City of Converse, and the Knox Ridge TERS. And the reason that we are coming before Bexar County to amend this document is because the amendment, there's a provision in the document that says that any amendment requires approval of the parties, and since Bexar County is a party to the agreement, we're requesting Bexar County's approval of the amendment. As Melissa stated, this does not increase or change any of Bexar County's obligations. The sole amendment to the interlocal agreement was to increase the City of Converse's participation rate in the TERS.
This, Kevin, was started by Gordon Hartman, is that right?
That's
And
correct.
Around how long ago have we been participating? What year did this roughly start?
This TERS has been active since 2017, but I believe the effort actually started around 2016, 2015.
I move approval of the amendment.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Calvert, second by Commissioner Rodriguez. Any further discussion? Commissioner Moody.
So I just wanted to clarify, the participation rate, that's of the city tax revenue for that district. They're increasing their participation from 70% of that tax revenue to the 85%?
To 85%, yes, sir. And the reason for that increase in the tax rate, Commissioner, is because the city of Converse has actually reduced their tax rate over the years. So the financial projections that were initially prepared in 2017 no longer match the public improvements that are actually being put within the development.
That makes sense. No, I appreciate that background. Thank you.
All right, call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. I believe that concludes for now the matters that the court wants to take up on the individual. I'm going to ask that we now move to executive session, or is there another one? Oh, Michelle Carew, you still here? 79. All right. Commissioner Rodriguez said, let's take up your matter of 79. I'm going to agenda item 79, discussion appropriate action regarding ratification of a grant application, acceptance of grant funds from the Department of Defense, Federal Voting Assistance Program for the electronic absentee systems for elections, solicitation in the amount of $1,568,736 annually for the term of July 14, 2024 through July 14, 2029. This grant award is requested in support of our military and overseas voting population within the Texas Consortium to include Bexar and 16 additional counties. Michelle?
Yes, thank you, Judge and Commissioners. I appreciate you guys moving me to the front. This particular grant was actually something that was implemented by my predecessor and executed in July of last year. So this actually is going to not only assist Bexar County, but the additional 16 counties, giving us the opportunity to assist our overseas and military voters, as well as our disabled voters. With me today, I have Brian Finney. He's with Democracy Live. He's our current vendor who's been working with us over the last 5 elections, providing ballots securely to all of those voters. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioner Moody?
So obviously supportive, this is grant funding, which is great. Trying to understand, so the 1.5 million, is that per year or over the course of 3 years, the 1.5?
It's over the course of 3 years.
Okay. And the grant is all to Bexar County or to the region and those surrounding counties as well? I guess we're collecting those funds and then those surrounding counties are chipping in, or are they part of the grant?
I'm going to pass this over to Brian. He's been more involved on this, if you don't mind.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner and Judge. This program is for military and overseas voters, and it was designated primarily to be able to secure the ballots being delivered electronically per federal law. The funds go to Bexar County on behalf of the other 16 counties as well as Bexar County.
Okay. And so I assume a lot of this is kind of setup costs up front. Do we have a breakdown in terms of, I guess what I'm getting at is when this grant runs out, if it's not renewed, what are those ongoing costs that either will be borne by Bexar County and or those surrounding counties to continue the program?
Yeah, there's an active contract right now between Bexar County and Democracy Live for the portal itself, the balloting portal. Initially it was under a lawsuit to help the blind and disabled voters. So this extends that capability to the military and overseas. All the funds are primarily designed to be able to set up not just Bexar County, but those other counties. At the end of the grant, it reverts back to the current contract in place with Bexar County today, which I believe is $43,000 a year.
It was 43?
I believe so.
Okay. And is that with or without the surrounding county contributions?
That is without. That is, so 2027, it would revert back to the original price that they're paying right now, that you're paying right now.
Okay. And those surrounding counties, though, would also need to contribute going forward if
On
they
their
were
own.
going to continue to be a part of the program.
Correct. So the initial funding is to set up the balloting portal for all those different counties as well as Bear County.
Just obviously some things for your office to think about as we go forward, and the potential situation where there's not grant funding that continues. Where will that funding come from, and how will we coordinate with those surrounding counties? But I just wanted to kind of highlight that for the record. But thank you for the background.
Commissioner Coward.
Without giving away to hackers how we're doing this, can you give me a high-level understanding of the ways in which we're securing these military votes?
Certainly. The reason why the Department of Defense has funded this program and funded specifically Military City USA, right? It's because you have the most military installations than any other jurisdiction in the country. And this was a security upgrade. There was a federal law that was passed a decade ago, maybe more, that requires ballots being delivered to our men and women overseas in the military to get their ballot on an email, through the internet. That is an antiquated, outdated method of securing or delivering ballots to military and overseas. The reason why this grant exists is to secure that transmission of the federally required ballot transmission. So in our case, the funding helps provide a federally approved cloud infrastructure, same cloud environment that's been approved by the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, and the Department of Defense. It also has, the funding provides the security where over 1,500 independent researchers are testing the system, 24/7 monitoring, a wide array of different certifications for electronic transmission of critical documents. This document happens to be a ballot, but the NSA has their own critical documents. And so again, the investment, the funding is to make sure that the ballots that are being transmitted by federal law are in the most secure manner possible.
And are we using outside satellite providers for that? Is through this transfer?
You said outside what?
So in receiving the ballots, are we using Department of Defense satellites, or are we using outside company satellites?
So no satellites are involved here. This is a cloud-based, it's similar to DocuSign, where the voter is able to access their ballot. They log into this secure portal, get their ballot, they mark it, then they print it out, and they still have to mail it back to the county.
The only exception being is if they're in a war zone. If they're in a war zone, then they're able to submit it back electronically. Otherwise, they have to print it and mail it in.
Commissioner Moody.
I just had one other thought here. When it comes to those other counties, how total counties, how many counties are included in this?
There's Bexar County plus 16 additional counties.
Plus 16. And so is that a geographic region that aligns with ACOG, or how was that 16 counties included?
When the Department of Defense provided this grant program, these were other counties that wanted to participate in the Bexar County consortium. So it was really kind of a first come, first serve, given that there were going to be limited funds and the prospects at Bexar County, because it was a competitive Department of Defense bid grant. And they knew that Bexar County may be selected for it, and they wanted to participate in that Bexar County grant program.
Okay. No, I was just, the thought was, are there other counties that could potentially be interested in participating that may spread some fixed costs in the future more broadly across a broader region with more population and more counties involved? Not suggesting that we take on that burden if we're going to bear all that financial cost, but if there was, with economies of scale, and you had more counties involved, potentially you could bring some of those fixed costs down or spread them more broadly across a larger region. But again, I don't know enough about the background of the contract or how many other counties may be interested, but just a thought as we go forward.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Thank you, Judge. Michelle, I know this is one of the items that you inherited, and so you may not have been involved at the outset, so we're going to rely on you to keep us updated on the efficacy. The bottom line is, I think, this is something that is going to help secure our military member ballots, and so I think it's an investment worth proceeding with. But again, it's something that you're new in the role. As you go through your processes of evaluating this program and other programs, we're going to rely on you to give us feedback on what is and is not, in your opinion, a wise investment. So we appreciate the fact that you've taken the baton and you're trying to get things upgraded and more innovation in the office. So I think this is a good thing, Judge. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Rodriguez, second by Commissioner Clay Flores. Michelle, let me kind of speak to you as a lawyer. One of the things I want clarity on this regards to this agenda item, we're ratifying a grant application. So I take it we have an ongoing contract with this current vendor, correct?
Yes.
And I assume that ratification means that a grant application has been submitted before, or are we now starting the grant application now?
It was submitted and awarded last year.
All right. And so now we're officially accepting it?
Correct.
And ratifying it, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
There's not any out-of-pocket expense on general revenue. The expenses for this contract are going to be subsumed by this ratification. So for purposes, this is an accounting procedure. So obviously, this was a decision. This grant application was initiated by your predecessor, but for whatever reason, was never brought to the court to accept. And so now we're doing that, and so now I believe the commissioners now have gotten their questions answered, so to speak. So now we know what we're paying for, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're in full support of this particular grant, and will it be, and I think it's been alluded to, we may be continuing services past the grant, or will there be an opportunity to re-up for a grant or seek another grant?
There's always another opportunity to be able to apply for another grant. We've been applying for grants through the Department of Defense since 2013. So every time something comes up, we're always on the lookout for another way to support military and overseas voters. So we'll make sure, myself and my office will make sure that we're keeping our eyes on this to be able to bring it in the future.
And I assume since you're still well within your first year, and you've just gone through now, two elections, right?
Yes, sir.
City election and a runoff. These are things I would assume you're trying to clean up, so to speak, to check to see what work, if any, needs to be done from your predecessor and what needs to be brought up to date and current and legal, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you anticipate having any other matters like this come to the court's attention?
This is the only one that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right. There's a motion on the floor. A second. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion
I do
carried.
have a comment, Judge.
Yes.
Yeah, not regarding this. I just haven't seen you since the most recent election, the city election. Just want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
I didn't hear about any major snags along the way. Minor snags, I'm sure, but not major ones. And so for it to be your first election plus a runoff, congratulations and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Did I call for the vote? You did. Yep. All right. So the court will now recess for open session and can now convene into executive session. Time is 11:14. We will work, and then Dave or Kate, depending on time, I may as we've done, let staff go ahead, check in with us, and we'll probably let staff eat, and then we'll see how our executive session ends. Court, I'll defer. Do y'all want to take a break to eat, or did you like to continue to finish the meeting and then go
Why
eat
can't we bring
lunch?
the food here and eat while we're talking?
Well, we can do that, Commissioner. We're going to defer to the majority of the court of how they want to eat their lunch on the dais or back in the back room. So with that, the court will now, time is now 11:15 a.m. We'll convene an executive session. Executive session items may be discussed and act upon if appropriate in open session pursuant to Section 551071 of the Texas Government Code. Executive session will be held for consultation with the court's attorney for advice regarding the following matters. A, pending or contemplated litigation settlement offers in the matters of Mace, M-A-I-S versus Bexar County. B, legal issues pertaining to the following matters in which the duty of the attorney for Bexar County under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State of Bar, Texas, clearly conflicts with the Open Meetings Act. Subsection 1I, One, legal issues related to items contained in memorandum of understanding by and among Bexar County, the City of San Antonio Spurs Holding. Two, legal issues related to items contained in memorandum of understanding by and among Bexar County, San Antonio Livestock Exposition, and the Coliseum Advisory Board. Three, legal issues related to proposed amendments to the Texas Rules of Judicial Administration, which would replace Bexar County's current central docketing system with a requirement that each case be assigned to a particular judge, as well as a petition for writ of mandamus currently pending in Texas Supreme Court, styled in the Honorable Judge Christine Vasquez Hortek individually and as judge of the 225th Judicial District Court, Bexar County, Texas. 4, legal issues related to request for proposal event 1070, Small Business Contractor Development and Bonding Program, pursuant to section 551087 of the Texas Government Code for deliberations regarding economic development negotiations, specifically 1, update on the progress of the items contained in the memorandum of understanding by and among Bexar County, the City of San Antonio, San Antonio Spurs Holding. 2, update on the progress on the items contained in the memorandum of understanding by and among Bexar County, the San Antonio Livestock Exposition, and the Coliseum Advisory Board, pursuant to section 551074 of the Texas Government Code for deliberations regarding personnel matters, specifically 1, certain employees currently employed by the Bexar County Office of Criminal Justice. So at this time, the court goes into executive session, and I'm turning my mic off.